Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. It's Merry Christmas and all that fun stuff. We got that this week. Normally I'm on Tuesdays. Not going to post a show on Christmas Eve, but I do have movies to talk about, so I figured I'll go on Christmas Eve because I think there are fewer people out celebrating then. And also, maybe I'll give you something to listen to Christmas morning while you're waiting for people to wake up or after you've opened presents. Whatever the case may be. I hope you enjoy the show. I've got 4 movies to talk about. First, we're going to start with something on screens on movie theaters right now. It's Mufasa the Lion King. This installment of the Lion King movies is obviously a prequel to the original Lion King. We're talking look, the live action remake was just a slight reskinning of the original animated classic from the 90s. This is a prequel to that. It could be just technically a prequel to either one. There are some people who like the animated style of this. There are some people who don't. I am in I don't care, but don't call it live action because it's an animated movie camp. That's the camp I'm in. Like, I don't care how you animate it. That's an animated movie. Like, there's absolutely nothing live action about that movie. Okay, maybe you mocap some things. It's an animated movie. So let's do away with this. Like, oh, it's live action. It's not. It's an animated movie. Anyway, my only complaint about the original live action mocap Lion King is that it was utterly unnecessary. You don't need to be making just basically shot for shot remakes of movies that are perfectly fine, less than 50 years ever, period, end of story. Like, if you want to do something brand new with the concept, great, let's see it, let's hear it. If you're just doing like a reskin, it's unnecessary, and please stop. Granted, this movie is that remake was literally one of the top 20 grossing movies of all time. People went out to see it, but I think that's because they loved the original and they were like, oh, I want to see this too, because the original is so good. And guess what? People are not doing this past weekend. Going to see Mufasa the Lion King did not do well in box office. Why? Because nobody wanted it. Like, there's just it's a bad reading of the room to put this out there, but that's neither here nor there. Let's, skip to the chase and talk about the movie on its merits. Regardless of whether it was necessary or not, or the first reskinning was necessary or not. This version, unlike the first one, which was directed by Jon Favreau, is directed by Barry Jenkins. Amazing director. Barry Jenkins movies include, but not limited to, Moonlight, just one of the best movies of the last 20 years. If Beale Street Could Talk, again, one of the best movies of the last 20 years. Amazing. He produced After Sun, which was amazing. And super talented, super high profile. That's what Disney is doing with these remakes. They and the spinoffs from the remakes, obviously. They're looking for high talent to lend credibility and credence to the movie. I saw the trailer for this first time and I was just like, oh, this isn't necessary. I wasn't mad though, because hey, at least it's something new. Like, this is not a reskinning of something that already exists. This is its own new thing. And then I saw Lin-Manuel Miranda was doing the original songs. And I was like, well, shit. Yeah, I'm in. I want to see anything where Lin-Manuel Miranda is involved. Is particularly involved in creating songs. I am a stan. That's just where it is. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not going to explain it. I just really like what he does with specifically songs in musicals / movies. I really like it. I enjoy it. He loves the form, and he loves the art form, and he understands how to incorporate songs into a scene, which is the most important thing when you're talking about songs in a movie, is they have to make sense within a theme, within a scene. which, going back to a movie I reviewed last week, The End, the songs just didn't make sense within the scene. The songs in this are a bit, if you think of the movie as little Tinker Toys, okay, the songs are the center part of the Tinker Toys. Like you need something to plug those pieces into, and for me, that's what the songs accomplish. And because of that, spoiler alert, I genuinely enjoyed the movie. My expectation going in were, I'm probably gonna like the songs, but the movie's just gonna leave, something to be desired. I loved the songs, and because I loved the songs, the movie absolutely worked for me. That being said, if you're predisposed to liking songs and movies, or predisposed to not liking Lin-Manuel Miranda songs, this isn't going to work for you. And concurrently, if you happen to like Lin-Manuel Miranda, that doesn't necessarily mean this is going to work for you. Like, I can completely understand some people, and I've heard this complaint saying, "Oh wow, Lin-Manuel Miranda really took a step backwards here." I don't feel that way. I don't feel like he took a step backwards at all. I do feel like I can understand where that criticism may come from. But it worked for me. The voices in here, Mufasa is played by Aaron Pierre, who, man, I mean, he he's from Rebel Ridge earlier this year, which was one of the like absolute revelations and super fun movies and unexpected smashes that came out earlier this year, even though it went directly to streaming. And then Taka, who is his adopted brother, is played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., who played Chevalier in the movie from last year, Chevalier, who is just like a charisma king, and really comes through in playing Taka, Mufasa's brother. You can imagine who he becomes. What works, what doesn't? Again, the songs work. The story works. I really like the story. I like the origin of Mufasa being, like, so the one of the guffaw points of the trailer was, someone who doesn't have a drop of regal blood becomes a king, and it's like, oh, come on, it's ridiculous. But then you see where the origin of that and how it works, and it's like, okay, this is a story that's been told a lot before, but in this context, it really does work. Just like The Lion King was a story that, without context, had been told a lot of times before, but it worked within the context of that movie. And for me, this story worked. The script, it's a little forced sometimes. I do wish that there had just been an opportunity to sit down and be like, we can cut out some of the slapstickiness. Pumbaa and Timon step in as comic relief frequently. Unnecessary. Just not necessary. It's like, I understand why they're there. Like, we need like 20% less of them, as much as we needed like 20% less of Mater in the original Cars movie. It just comes off as shticky and for kids, and it just doesn't necessarily work. And then what worked for me, obviously I've said it already, and I want to say it again, the songs absolutely worked for me. So here at Reel to Reel Talk, we do taco ratings rather than stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little bit of extra, instead of giving it a half a star, we give it guac. Why? Because nobody eats half a fucking taco. That's why. This is getting my standard 3 taco. I absolutely will watch this movie again at some point. I will absolutely enjoy watching it again at some point. I don't necessarily feel, quite frankly, it's probably a 2 taco plus guac movie, where the songs push it over to 3 tacos, whereas sometimes like a 3 taco movie would be like, oh, I really like this movie, but the songs were really good, so I'm going to add guac. So I'm going 3 tacos on this one. The next movie that I am going to talk about now, we're going to do 3 Christmas movies. So let's just talk really quick, big picture Christmas movies and what I want to review here. And so I picked 3 streaming Christmas movies. So it's stuff that you can watch without leaving your home this weekend, or not this weekend, but this week sometime. And relatively recently released 2 streaming. And I really wanted to do 3 different things that fall under 3 different wings of the the house of Christmas movies, where it's like, oh, you have love movie Christmas movies. Those are the Hallmark ones. You have family movie Christmas movies, where it's like, here's the trials of a family. And you have like straight up the mythology of Christmas movies. And then you have, this is not really a Christmas movie. Actually, yes, it is Christmas movies because it takes place during Christmas. So some people say, well, it could take place anytime, like the Die Hards. We're going to start with, I'm only doing 3 of those groups. There are more groups. I'm going to start with the Christmas Eve in Miller's Point, which is AMC Plus. I promise you've probably not heard of this movie. I only heard about it because of a podcast that I listened to. It's not something, AMC Plus is not out there pushing their shit constantly and real hard. But this falls, it falls along the lines of The Family Stone or Home for the Holidays, even though that's a Thanksgiving movie, where it's, let's watch this fun, weird, quirky family at Christmas time. In this case, Christmas Eve in Miller's Point. Miller's Point is a stand-in for a nondescript city on Long Island, and it follows a family, we never get their last name, which is extremely large, and they all go to their grandmother's house on the matriarch on Christmas Eve in Miller's Point. So some of them are coming in from the city, some of them are coming in from different areas of Long Island, and some of them are right there in Miller's Point, even living in the house with the aging matriarch of the family. And in classic let's follow this quirky family in a Christmas time movie, it's chaotic, there's a lot going on, and there are interesting characters. The thing that this movie is missing that all those other movies that I mentioned was an emotional center, and just a something that holds the entire movie together, where this really feels like a vignette of about like 8 different like mini movies thrown together, where these people don't, from one scene to another, don't even necessarily know each other. It's just different little things going on, with one sort of loose storyline threaded through the middle, which is the grandmother is getting older and starting to lose her faculties. The problem with that, and if you want to say, well, that's the center, the grandmother literally doesn't talk throughout the movie. Like, you don't hear her say a single word. There's an older female relative that says quite a bit, and it is not, like, I was kind of shocked, was not the grandmother. Like, it throws you off, and because we don't get to see anything from her point of view, it just feels like it's a cobbled together thing, and because of that, the movie, and also, like, the Meet the Quirky Family movie at Christmas movies always have some chaos. This movie is literally predicated on you enjoying chaos. Like, there's nothing else going for it other than, hey, here's just really, really unabridged chaos. I am not an agent of chaos, nor do I like that much chaos, especially if there's no emotional center. And for that reason, this movie gets 2 tacos, AMC Plus's Christmas in Miller's Point. The next movie I want to look at is Carry On Netflix. This is in the is it or isn't it a Christmas movie, which is an action movie. Movies that fall in this. I mentioned Die Hard. Die Hard is sort of like the granddaddy of them all. Basically, any Shane Black movie. Speaking of Shane Black movies written by Shane Black would be Lethal Weapon perfectly 100% qualifies, takes place during Christmas. Red is another one, takes place during Christmas. Technically, could these movies take place anytime outside of Christmas? Absolutely. Still a Christmas movie, takes place during Christmas. A lot of times, it's probably a lesser movie without the Christmas run throughout. The Christmas ads, the Christmas time adds uncertainty, chaos, and a little bit of heft as to what's going on. Whereas, you put it in the middle of July and it's just like another day of terrorists. Whereas you put the terrorists at Christmas time and it feels like, you add some emotional heft to it. And that's what we get with Carry On. God damn, God bless this movie. It is an absolute callback to Die Hard. It is a callback to Lethal Weapon. Look, this movie, it stars Taron Egerton, who you may know from the Kingsman movies, the first two, and also and Rocket Man, and also has everybody's favorite Jason Bateman, who gets to play a bad guy here, and gosh, he's so good. He's so good as a bad guy. This movie is just the story. Taron Egerton plays the safety patrol people in the airport, and NSA. Plays an NSA, not NSA. Shit, I can't remember. Anyway, it plays an agent at the airport a security agent at the airport who's he doesn't like Christmas, and it's Christmas time. He doesn't like Christmas, but his girlfriend, who is now fiance wife, who is now pregnant, is trying to get him to get not only into the Christmas mood, but also, get out of this funk that he's in. So he steps up, goes to his boss, says, I want to work one of the machines instead of just working the line. So he's put on the machine on Christmas Eve. Whatever, fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But what's awesome is that terrorist Jason Bateman picks his line as the one where he's going to try to get nefarious materials through the baggage check. And, he's got a man behind the screen who is telling him all the information about Taron Egerton's character. And Taron Egerton needs to figure out a way to prevent the nefarious materials from getting on board or stopping the nefarious elements from actually causing harm. Great movie. Just like so enjoyable. Is it Die Hard level? No. So it's not going to get Die Hard level love. Does it have problems? Yes. Is it super fun? Absolutely. 3 tacos plus guac. More. Just more. Die Hard, and it's basically it's similar to Die Hard 2. But there's enough difference going on, makes it, absolutely worthwhile. Super, super fun. I could not possibly recommend this movie enough. Go watch Die Hard, or Lethal Weapon, and then put this on immediately after. I promise you will be entertained. Last one I'm going to do is Red One. That's right. It's not necessarily a streaming movie. It's been out in theaters for a long time. You can still go see it in the theaters. But Amazon finally put it out on, because of course they did. They want people at home watching Red One on their Prime accounts on Christmas. And look, this is a movie that I did not go see in theaters. 3 reasons. 1, didn't work the weekend that it came out. I could only go pick one movie to see that weekend. It wasn't going to be Red One. 2, I don't remember what weekend it was. 2, I wasn't really excited about this. The Rock, The Rock is, hit or miss. Chris Evans is fine. I kind of like when he's in a movie, but I'm not like going to be like, oh, I need to go see Chris Evans in a movie. J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus. Awesome. I love it. But again, I need to see J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus. And Lucy Liu was apparently in this movie and apparently in the trailers, and I had no idea. So and what was going on, it just felt really super commercially, like, it just, and by the way, this movie falls in the let's explore the the mythos of Christmas, like, and not the religious side, like, but like the supernatural aspects of Santa Claus and blah blah blah. Your Polar Expresses, your heck, I'll even say your every variation on A Christmas Carol. But this is more, like Santa. Oh, Santa Claus, perfect example. The Santa Claus. That's where this movie falls. So much like Mufasa, my expectations going into this were low, but only unlike Mufasa, I was like, there was nothing like with Mufasa. I was like, okay, well, as long as the songs work, I'm gonna like it on some level. Like I was expecting to hate this movie, and I'll be honest with you. I absolutely would watch this next year when somebody says, all right, let's start watching Christmas movies. And someone said, well, I didn't see Red One last year. Do you want to watch that? I'd be like, yeah, let's put it in. It's fun, it's not as horribly commercialized to be pro like Amazon as I kind of thought it was going to be. It's not as sticky dumbness as sticky like, oh, this is the bad person, and it's like paper thin, and it's pretty paper thin, but it's not like, it's more like construction paper rather than like loose leaf paper thin. So at least it has a little bit of heft to it. I will say this movie has the single dumbest line in just about any movie I've ever seen. So the script is not that great, but everything else works okay. And I bought into the mythos, and I bought into everything going on. The Rock wasn't, terrible. Like, every once in a while, The Rock does something. The Rock can use his charisma and use it well, like The Rundown, a perfect example. He was definitely channeling a bit of his Rundown here, and I was here for it. I enjoyed it. Chris Evans is doing his I'm Chris Evans from Long Island, and I'm not a good person thing, and it worked for me. And look, it features a Christmas Time Miracle turnaround of character, and like a la Christmas Story, and I'm a sucker for that, so I fell for it. This one gets 3 tacos. Like, literally, if somebody said Mufasa or Red One, I would say they're comparable. You pick whichever one you're more in the mood for. Never have I don't think I've ever reviewed 2 movies on the same podcast where I literally can't be like, I like one more than the other. These are 2 very similar movies that are trying to accomplish the very similar things. Pulling on heartstrings using known, I'm going to say IP, just for lack of a better idea behind what Santa Claus is, and do them equally well or poorly depending on the particular line being delivered at the moment. For the record, the terrible line was the main bad person says, the problem with people today is they have nothing to fear. And it's like, lady, like the biggest problem with people today is that they fear everything. And so, like, that's just the worst take I've ever heard on anything. Look, I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. Sergio will be joining me next week for a review of Nosferatu and the Bob Dylan biopic, whose name escapes me at the moment. A complete unknown. And I'm super excited about that. Look, Nosferatu, man, a Christmas movie. It works. I'm Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. I hope to see you again next week. I hope you go see the movies and during your nice long extended vacation, Christmas vacation. Go